The match on this afternoon, two players that you know well, Noel Burrows and John Bell. Noel Burrows, of course, the only representative from the Crown Green contingency to reach this stage. Tell us a little bit about him, because you have played him, haven't you?
Yes, I played Noel in the John Player Classic, which must be about 4 years ago, 3 years ago now, and it was an exhibition game. And Noel won that one. He didn't go through in the tournament. Actually, I won the tournament. I don't think Noel got past the quarter-final. I may be doing him an injustice. It may have been the semi-final, but anyway. But he's been playing a lot of indoor bowls now, flat green bowls, and he would be by far the most experienced of the Crown Green players here, I would think, as regards playing our type of game.
A great season on the Crown this year too, I must point out.
Yes, well, he,
used to winning is the point I'm making.
Yes, well, he is a good bowler, but as you say, winning on the Crown is slightly different in the respect is different as chalk and cheese, the two games. But he is the most experienced player of the Crown Green players in our game, and I would think he would go well, as indeed I'm sure John Bell will. John Bell is a man in form. His record over the last 2 or 3 years, in our game is good, and I would think we're going in for, look forward to a very good game, and I suppose I'd have to say that John's experience should see him through.
Yes, he didn't really have a severe test in the last round, did he? David Gourlay just didn't get a feel for the carpet at all, and John had an easy time of it, didn't he?
Yes, John is a good all-round player, as I say, an experienced player, and he's been getting some good results in singles the last couple of years, and I think, I'd have to say I would expect John to win, but I also expect it to be a very good game, a close game.
Right then, well thanks very much for that, David. As I say, we'll see you again tonight, but for now, let's join our two commentators for this match, who are Brian Brett, and first of all, let's hear from Hugh Johns.
John Bell up at this end, below our commentary box, his second bowl to put up for the final trial, and Noel Burrows has put his away. John Bell in red. Interesting to see that Noel Burrows is wearing the pale blue of his favourite football team this time.
That's right, Hugh, and that of course is Manchester City. Just hoping that this time there's no mix-up with Woods.
Yes, he did have that tiny embarrassment, didn't he, against Karen Galvin.
That's right. He thought the wood would have been taken out and declared dead, as it is in the Crown game, but he'd have been quite happy for that, but he accepts the rules of this competition.
All the more embarrassing because the colour of that bowl was red, the dreaded Old Trafford lot.
That's right. Lives within sight of the floodlights of Main Road, looking to illuminate this competition as the last of the Crown Green representatives, as we had felt. We had a sneaking feeling that if anybody was going to penetrate the stranglehold that the flat might just apply, it'd be Noel Burrows, and the whole of Manchester is behind him, and most of the people in this audience are willing him on.
Well, I know that a lot of the Crown bowlers who, unfortunately for all Crown fans, have already been knocked out of this competition.
Arthur Murray there on the right, in fact.
Yes, I was going to say, they're all here in force to see how their last man in is going to get on. Noel has actually won the toss, elected, as is his right, to take the mat and set the first jack up. Rules of the competition are that on the toss you have the option either to take the mat, the jack, or to bowl what turns out to be the last wood into the first end. And then from then on, second and third sets, the decision alternates between the two bowlers. And Noel has opened up with a very respectable bowl indeed. Just about a bowl short of the jack, just away on the outside. John Bell did not find as good a line or length with his first bowl. Noel would dearly love to get away and put a few shots on the board before John Bell has a chance to find the length, and Noel has put up a very good second bowl. I think these bowls that Noel is using in this one, as I said, he hasn't used for some time, Brian.
That's right.
Fairly narrow running bowls.
They are narrow running woods. They're a little lighter. He's been practicing with a few sets over at Huddersfield. He fancied these. He'd used these against Karen Galvin to great effect. And of course, to get through the first round, he beat the Irishman Michael Dunlop. But Noel there just scratching his chin, has won 8 major titles this year, so he's certainly in a winning frame of mind, and that's the way he's tackling this game. John Bell needs to pick something up, just fades through.
All he needs to do is put maybe 8 to 10 inches on his first 2 bowls, just come around the back. Perhaps a little longer than he planned to. Dropped it a little shorter. Would have been in a good position and in fact counting for 3. Nevertheless, it's covered up the back bowl of John Bell. John certainly hasn't found line or length with his first 3 deliveries, and this looks like a very confident opening for the Red Lion Hotel landlord. I think he must wish that he had an indoor flat rink to practice on there alongside his crown green. Ran just a little bit long. But now John Bell has got to come up and have a look at the geography here. He's certainly 2 down at this moment. But there's plenty of room to draw shot. Though he has to be a little wary that if he does make contact with the jack, that little object about 2.5 inches in diameter, and he doesn't string it too far back into those 2 blue bowls at the back. But with the right weight, the right line, he ought to be able to draw a shot here, though it would mean that he bowled 1 good bowl in 3 and 4 other. Well, he's done it. There it is. Just shows you what a cruel game this game of bowls can be. John Bell bowls 1 good bowl in 4 and picks up the first shot of the match. So the score right away in the first set, John Bell 1, Noel Burrows 0.
And the odds for this game swung around a bit before the start of play. Hugh, I noticed that at one stage Burrows was favourite to win the heat, but now as they started, I think it was 11-8 on John Bell, even money Noel Burrows.
I think a lot of people would be so highly delighted if Noel can get past John Bell, at least get into the semi-finals. He's such a very, very popular bowler. In fact, fair to say that Noel has won practically everything, in fact everything that really matters.
He's won everything, and he's won a few things twice. He won the Embassy twice and was going for the hat-trick last week, but just failed. Record goes back to 1967 when he won his first major event.
Noel has shown up pretty well in these sort of championship events. Last year's UK singles final, he took out the Welsh champion Terry Sullivan in the first round of the indoor flat, a competition very similar to this one. Beat the Welsh champion Terry Sullivan 7-6, 7-6, and gave Michael Dunlop a bit of a run in the second round before he went out in the second round. So Noel, one man, one crown bowler who could easily convert to this flat game, and plenty of time to do it, and he's only 40 years old now. And it was bowling in this direction against Davy Gourlay. John Bell really crushed the Scotsman in the last round. And already he's showing that he's got the line about right on this. And Noel seems to have that one about right. He's going to cut away underneath it, though. But he's paired up, or coupled up, if you like, with the red bowls of John Bell.
Still plenty of room to get in that hand, Hugh. Bell may well be hoping to protect it, give it some cover.
I don't think there's any change. Certainly time for Noel Burrows to go and have a really close look. He has to be careful coming on that forehand now. John Bell's certainly looking confident enough. So Noel putting up the last bowl but one of his in this head. And we'll just see it arrive. And then I'm afraid we'll probably have to leave you. He's gone straight on through. And because that fine game of Willie Wood and Gordon Lewin took up most of our transmission time this afternoon, we're going to have to leave this match between John Bell and Noel Burrows. But naturally enough, you'll be able to catch up on the outcome of it in your early evening programs. So for the time now, we'll say farewell this afternoon to you from Television Super Bowl.
Another memorable daytime session here at Stage 1, but perhaps the best is yet to come. Well, what we can do right now is bring you up to date with the match we had to leave a little earlier, the quarter-final between John Bell and Noel Burrows. Well, it went into the third set. That's where we join it, Burrows trailing 6-3.
Given this a lot to do, it's cutting across. They're asking for it to miss all. That's an old Crown cry. Oh, it's still 3.
Well, Noel is in the tremendous opportunity here now of putting a lot of pressure on John Bell and putting a fourth bowl in, tight to the head. And lie game. John Bell certainly looking a rather worried man at the moment.
Oh, these things don't happen, do they, Hugh? At a full house, surely.
He really is
From
very
2-6
worried
down.
about this. 2-6 down.
Oh,
Yes.
this is comic book stuff. Can't happen.
He's going to
He's
be in
here.
there for 4.
He's here for
in there
4.
for 4 at the moment. He is actually at this precise moment of time in the semi-final. But John Bell has 1 bowl to deliver.
And from 6-2 up, John Bell, theoretically at this moment.
And look at those 2 red bowls round the back there. That's the important ones.
Yes.
Those 2 down at 5 o'clock. If he can cannon, get a whack on the shot bowl and shoot that jack back, he'll get the 1 shot he wants to go through into the semi-final himself. He goes hard, he goes hard, he
Miss
goes
all, I
hard.
cry.
He's got all.
Got it.
The jack's in the ditch. Bowls are in the ditch. Now, which ones are going to count?
John Bell reckons
John
he's
Bell
got
reckons he's got it. Noel Burrows had a
Well,
toucher.
another.
Noel Burrows had a toucher, but where's it gone? John Bell shakes his hand. In fact, John Bell with that 1 shot, running the jack into the ditch. Tremendous bowl. He kisses it. That's the one that sorted him out. He has gone through into the semi-final. He has beaten Noel Burrows 7-4, 4-7, and finally in that exciting end of the third set, he takes it at 7-3.
True to say that television has played a major part in the increasing popularity of sports such as snooker and darts. And you know, the next one to benefit could well be Crown Green Bowls. We were staggered by the response to the Bass Masters tournament, which was covered on Granada in September from the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port. It was the richest singles event in the history of bowls and was won by my opponent today, Noel Burrows. No, it really was a tournament that made a very big impact on the bowls world, wasn't it?
Oh yes, the number of people that have spoken to me about it's been incredible. One particular gentleman, in fact, is seriously in trouble with his wife now because she always used to have to watch the midnight movie on her own. He used to go to bed and he decided he was going to stop up and watch the bowling, and she reckoned he'd fall asleep, but he didn't. So from now on he's got to stop up and watch the midnight movie every night that it's on.
Tell me, is one of the problems with bowls the fact that it does have the image of being an old man's game? Is it something you're trying to live down, as it were?
Well, I think so. You'll notice these days that there's so many young players about. In fact, another big competition that was played at Blackpool was won by a young man of 23 from Yorkshire.
And indeed, one of the best matches at the Bath Masters involved young Mick Robinson from Dewsbury in a sensational match, wasn't it, against Ken Strutt?
It was, yes. Mick's come to the fore the last couple of years, and some people just have the flash in the pan sort of thing. They have a good season and then you never hear of them again, but he's one that's going to be around for a long time. Your
memories of that game?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's had everybody on the edge of the seats, I think. Mick could have won the game. They hadn't before the last. He only had to just reach up with his last ball and he was just short. Made it 20 each, I think, and then it was down to the last ball of the last end when Ken Strutt managed to just squeeze his ball round 2 short balls and go to the jack and win the game.
Oh, is it going to slip through? Is it? Unbelievable! What a match! Oh, great stuff, and Ken Strutt wins at the death.
And of course it was Ken Strutt who ended up as your opponent in the final.
That's right.
One of the most difficult games you've faced?
One of them, yes, but you know, at that level every game's hard. They're all good players and you've got to get your head down and do your stuff.
And what do you remember of it?
Well, it was very nice to win, of course. There was one part of the game where I thought I was coasting home, and I think the score was 16-8, and Ken managed to play 2 superb balls inside a lead of mine, which was only a foot away in the first place.
Come on, a little more, just a little more.
A Wonderwood.
Magnificent. Well, it's a brave gesture. He doesn't want to disturb anything with Burrows having the backboard.
Dear me, yes. He's on the line as well. Can he sneak past Wood? Can he sneak past?
Go on, in again.
What a
great bowling!
Whoa.
Great bowling!
He got to 13 before I managed to get in again. So it was just starting to get a little bit worrying.
Will it keep straight and hit him?
It's gone through.
Straight through. So Noel Burrows now with a chance of 2.
He's looking for 2.
Oh, line's through.
Oh, and he's got him. He's got 2. Good bowling. Ken Strutt has just 1 more chance. Now is this to coup de grace from Noel Burrows?
Needs to be a
Perfect
little
land. Well, Ken Strutt has it to do again.
It's a century, isn't it? He's put one up right in front. And I don't think his land's right.
Can he do it? No,
He's
he's
just
fading
banged.
away.
I certainly got the bug. My Christmas present, a brand new set of woods. The pub that I'm visiting, the Red Lion in Withington, Manchester, belongs to the most successful Crown Green bowler in what has been a momentous year for the sport. Behind the bar, Noel Burrows.
You're a bitter man, are you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We've had plenty of celebratory drinks this summer too, haven't you? Do you think it's been your most successful season since you started playing big-time Crown Green bowls?
Well, for winning major competitions, yes. About 8 or 9, I think.
Really?
I have won more competitions once in a season, but they were minor ones.
What was the highlight for you when you look back?
I think the Green Horse County Classic was the highlight. I think the main reason for that was a big crowd, losing 10-0 and coming back to win against a fellow of Ken Strutt's ability. I was quite pleased with that.
Right, Noel, play up, just in front. Pressure all on Ken.
This one will keep on rolling, giving Ken Strutt an awful lot to do. So with this wood, Ken Strutt has to save his life in the match. And everybody on this screen will watch it every inch of the way. It may be travelling. He's gone, I think. No, he's pegging back, but I think he's going too fast. He's going too fast. It's over. Noel Burrows wins. Throws Eric Rhodes' hat in the air. But what a tremendously exciting final, and what a victory by Noel Burrows after being 10 down. 21-18.
Everyone regards you as the man to beat now. Who do you regard as the man to beat?
Well, I've always had a friendly rivalry with Brian Duncan. He's been one of the best players around for a long time. I tend to beat him on very fast running greens, and he tends to beat me more on a slower running green. I've played him, I think I played him 3 times this season. Once on a slower running green, which he won, and on the fast running greens I won quite easily. So I fancy my chances against him when it's running a bit.
Of course, his most notable success this year was winning the Bass Masters, which he said at the time has now become sort of the 4th major in the Crown Green Bowls.
Oh, certainly. Everybody's desperate to win a competition that will qualify you to play in that.
Brian Duncan. Oh, he snuck in, and that could be the winner. It's 29. Peter Richardson needs this to stay alive. He's in trouble. He's fading away.
It's Duncan.
And Brian Duncan has swept through to victory in the Bass Masters of 1984 in less than half an hour. 21-9 against Peter Richardson.
Of course, it was the year of the television Super Bowl. Do you think that means now that the Crown Green Bowls will sure go out on the greens in the summer, but during the winter they might be playing a little bit more inside now to get themselves tuned up for 85?
Absolutely sure of it. There's quite a few church halls and town halls that lay these short mat things down, and I was at one only the other week, and there's a couple of 100 people there watching and waiting to play. Amazing.
In short, a new era for Crown Green Bowls now, maybe?
Oh, certainly. The thing is, bowls is a game that can be enjoyed by people from, well, very young until you've virtually got 1 foot in the grave. And you'd be surprised how many people you see they can hardly walk until they get to the bowling green, then you see them running across the green. It's amazing.
And yet, for all his success, Burrows didn't capture any of the classics. 2 of the 4 major titles ending up on the Fylde coast with Steve Ellis and Michael Leach. Brian Duncan, the Bass Master.